he's not 100%. It's pretty clear. But I don't think he's going to miss the next game. And, we were concerned at halftime. And he insisted on playing. And I thought he made a lot of really good things happen in the second half. But he's not 100%, and there's a lot of guys in this series that aren't. So,
Hi, Coach. Leandro Sarhan, ESPN Brazil. Seemed like Jalen Williams attacked the rim a whole lot today, and you guys weren't able to stop him. What can you do differently in Game 6 to try and contain him?
Get in front of him. Keep him from driving. Communicate better. Have help when necessary. In today's game, the drives to the rim, most of them happen at the point of attack, and we could do better. Nobody's asking about turnovers. We had 23 turnovers for 32 points. I mean, that's the game. So, we gotta do a heck of a lot better there.
Second row middle.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Was going to ask, you guys get it down to 2 on that Siakam 3 with about 8.5 minutes to go. Just what turned from there in terms of
what happened? They got a second chance opportunity and scored, and then we had an uncharacteristically bad turnover that turned into a dunk, and we called timeout. Came out. I think Miles got fouled. Got it back to 5. But then I don't remember, I just looked at part of that sequence to see what happened. Didn't make enough plays, pretty clearly.
Front row, middle.
Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files. Can you take us back to that third quarter? TJ McConnell was such an engine to get things going there and get you back in the game. And what did you like there? And then secondly, did you consider maybe coming back to him earlier there in the fourth quarter?
Well, he was great in the third. Put him in earlier than normal. He was very tired. That's why we got him out. And I think there was a play early in the fourth that where it looked like fatigue had set in there. And then, Ty was back in, and then that group went on a good run there. So, yeah, it's always a consideration. But I haven't gone through the entire game and completely analyzed the whole thing.
Front row left, Tim.
Rick, knowing it's the NBA Finals and guys are going to try to play unless they absolutely can't, what does it say about Ty that he was willing to play 34 tonight, kind of on one leg?
Yeah, I mean, I got him out early toward the end of the first half for 2 or 3 minutes because he just wasn't moving well. Was fatigued. It was tired too. He got back in and seemed okay. And then halftime we talked about it. I went through this whole thing already. But, yeah, I mean, all these guys playing in this series on both sides. I mean, I think it's pretty clear now that we're, going into the 6th game and, all the attention and the crowd noise in both arenas, everything. This is a lifetime opportunity. And not many guys are going to sit. Even if they're a little banged up. If you're injured, that's a different story, But we'll evaluate everything with Tyrese and, see how he wakes up tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think, we even with the game that we had, we still put ourselves in the position at that point. We got to take care of that, rebounding or, just those 50-50 balls, like just we gotta come up with it, and yeah, like just that fast it kind of like went away from us. But I thought the fight was there. We continued to fight no matter what, and we gave ourselves a chance until we made some mistakes there.
Third row on the right.
Hi, Pascal. Leandro Sarhan from ESPN Brazil. This game felt pretty similar to Game 1, where you guys just hung around, as you said. And what do you feel like you guys weren't able to do to get over the hump this time?
I mean, yeah, I think we we didn't make the necessary plays at the right time. Again, like we said, there was like some rebounding or turnovers there and there that they converted into buckets, and they made some tough shots, like tough shots after tough shots. In those moments, and we weren't able to get anything really going offensively at that point.
Second row, Sam.
Sam Amick, The Athletic. Coach Carlisle just said that the turnovers were the game. 23. How much of it was that defense doing what they do versus you guys just not being sharp enough?
I think it starts with me. I gotta be better, especially in that first quarter, like taking care of the ball, and I think it just kind of sets like a trend a little bit with just the turnovers that we had in critical parts of the game. But I got to be better with that. But I also think that they do get away with a lot of like reaching and they probably a testament to the defense. But I think they do get away with a lot. Some of those turnovers, I felt like they were fouls, but I gotta be better. Right? It's not. I can't have that many turnovers, and so especially in that first quarter.
First row on the left, Tim.
Pascal, Tim Reynolds with the AP. Everybody can see that Tyrese is playing through something with the leg. What's it say that he was able to be out there and try to gut out 34 minutes? For
yeah, no, he's a fighter. I think he's been out rock, all year, and he's the big reason why we're here, And we know he's, again, I don't know exactly what's wrong, but I know he's fighting, and he's going to give us everything he got. And we are 100% behind him, and we support him. And I think, one thing he showed, like, is resiliency. Like, he showed that all year, and I think that, we can continue to count on him to keep fighting. And I admire that, from him, and just because I know that, it's hard. So yeah, we just gotta, we got a couple of days, take care of our bodies, rest well, and be ready for Game 6.
Second row in the middle, Dan.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. You guys get down pretty big at the end of the first half, and then you have that major third quarter run. TJ McConnell really fueled it. What did you see from TJ being able to get downhill in that third quarter?
Yeah, he was aggressive. That's TJ. That's what he does, and I thought, he caught a good momentum, just getting to his spots. Playing the way that he does, and that really, really helped us and put us in a position to even fight for this game. And so yeah, there's just a big game from him.
It's NBA Finals. It's the finals, man. I've worked my whole life to be here, and I want to be out there to compete. Help my teammates any way I can. I was not great tonight by any means, but it's not really a thought of mine to not play here. If I can, walk, then I want to play. So, they understand that, and is what it is, and got to be ready to go for Game 6.
First row on the right, Jamal.
How did you try to affect, even being limited, how did you try to affect the game in the second half? And then you guys got it down to 2 in the third or fourth quarter there. Just what do you think got away from you after that?
Yeah, just trying to keep pacing the game, impact in whatever way I can. Just, trying to get P the ball in the right spots, trying to get guys the ball in the right spots if I can. And then as far as what happened there, we gotta watch film to see it. We feel like we did a good job in the second half of, putting pace in the game and really getting out and running. We thought we did a better job of that in the second half, but we really got to cut down on those turnovers. The turnovers are really killing us right now, especially in that first half. So we know we can be better there. We got to be ready to go for Game 6.
First row.
Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files. Tyrese, first of all, do you believe this is kind of a continuation of that injury you had at Game 2 that we saw? And then secondly, what about those turnovers stood out? What were they doing that made things awfully difficult?
It's the same area, so, I don't know if they're related, but yeah, it's the same area. As far as, the turnovers, again, that's the thing you really got to watch film on. I feel like some of them were self-inflicted. Obviously they're a great defensive team. They really swarm the ball, but we got to do a better job to take care of the ball. All 3 of our losses in this series have turnovers have been a big reason why. So, watch the film, see if we can get better. We got to do a better job to take care of the ball, if we want to have a chance in Game 6.
Third row on the right, Mark.
Mark Spears, ESPN's Landscape. At the beginning of the whole finals, you spoke on the history of the franchise, the generations of people, ticket-wise, how it's gone through families. just the pride of the city with this team. When you think about that, going into a game like that, knowing that this franchise has not won an NBA championship in its history, does that bring motivation? Does it bring pressure? Combination of both? Do you even think about that when you go home and you walk into that crowd?
Yeah, I mean, the thought is if you lose, the season's over. So our backs are against the wall. We take pride in playing at home in front of our fans, and our fans are amazing. So, we know they're going to come out with a ton of energy, in Game 6. So we're going to have to be able to respond, be better, and look forward to, the challenge. We got to take this a day at a time. Our backs are against the wall. I mean, you got to look at Game 6 like it's a Game 7. Losing is, if you lose, your season's over. So, we got to go in and take care of business, just approach the game the right way, see where we can get better in film, and be ready to compete.
Have you felt the weight of the city at all in their dreams of having this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that our city, our fans are, as hungry for this as we are as players, and that's a lot of fun. Competing and playing at the highest level is a lot of fun. We have fun, with this challenge, and nobody said this was going to be easy, so we got to be ready to go for Game 6.
First row middle.
Just, I guess, kind of keeping going on this point. I mean, you guys have talked a lot about all the comebacks you've had in this season, not only in this playoffs, but before that. I mean, how much does all that kind of give you guys muscle memory for a situation like this when you are facing elimination?
Yeah, I mean, we've had our backs against the wall many times over the last 2 years. Had to figure out different ways to win. So, the way that this year has gone, nobody said that this was going to be sweet. It's kind of poetic that we're here, and we got to be ready to go for Game 6. Our backs are against the wall. It's a really tough team. We're going to go home and have to get ready on a couple days, and there shouldn't even be a conversation about Game 7 or anything like that. Like, this is the game, and so everybody's got to be prepared. And starts with me, and we all got to be better. That's just point blank. Period.
First row on the right.
Ty, this is the first time I felt like I've seen you guys in this playoffs get sped up by defense. Did you feel that way? And in what ways do you feel like that contributed to your turnovers?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think we got to be better. I honestly want to watch the film. See where, different areas. I feel like especially there in the fourth, we had some really bad turnovers. Me, myself, personally. So we just got to do a better job of getting spaced, getting downhill. I think that's the most important thing, keeping pace in the game. We really, got after in that second half, cut the lead down, and they just made, shot after shot. And, we didn't make enough plays that we needed to down the stretch. So, watch the film, see if we can get better. But 22 turnovers against a team like this is a recipe, for disaster. So I think that should be the main area that we focus on going into, the next game. And obviously we can be better on, many points on the court, but I think taking care of the ball is our biggest thing.
Last question in the middle, Dan.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Kind of along those lines, as frustrating as this outcome is, I think, to have gotten down so big and come back, what are the positives that you can take away from this as you go into Game 6?
I think the fight is always going to be there from this group, and we've shown that when our backs are against the wall, we have many different guys that can chip in, and we have shown that, we're always going to fight. So, going home, there's not a better opportunity than to fight, on your home floor. So, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun playing a win or go home game at our home. That's going to be. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I look forward to competing, and we'll be ready to go.